In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
I think what this book does, again, is it just shows you that, you know, we're all humanity. It doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're from Japan or South America or Greece or Sweden. We're all the same people. We're all going through the same beautiful experiences and sometimes difficult experiences in life. And it's just it's a real beautiful balancing, harmonious effect that I think can be of some use and hopefully of some value in the words of confess.
I love it. Well, we're going to talk a little about, you know, the shows, the rocks, the things that you do for on a day-to-day life as well, which is playing in front of huge crowds. I've heard you mention before one of the most important shows that Judas Priest ever played, especially in the early days, was opening up for Led Zeppelin in my sort of hometown in the Bay Area. I grew up in Oakland, and it was at a Day on the Green show. I want to sort of hear a bit about, in your words, that show and what it meant to you to play with such an iconic band like Led Zeppelin and you guys being on the up and up.
Well, it was just an incredible end of tour experience for us because Priest had been on the road for months, man. We've been slugging away like all musicians need to do. It's like serving an apprenticeship, if you will, learning about your band, your music, the fans that you meet around, in this particular case, America. We've been on the road for months, you know, playing 5, 6 shows, sometimes 7 shows a week, and then traveling, you know, overnight between gigs. So we were almost coming to the end, and then word came to us through management that Robert Plant had said, "Hey, I hear Priests in America. We would love them to open up for us at Day of the Green." So your heads are going, this is insane. First, you know, it's one of our first tours to America, which is a big thrill for any band. And then to have this coming over, because we're all massive, mad Zeppelin fans, we're like, we're there, tell us what. So it turns out that it was 2 weeks later, so we had to get a cheap run-down motel by the freeway with a green swimming pool. And just camp out there for a couple of weeks with like 18-wheelers going by 24/7 in the room shaking, in the bed shaking. But you do what you do, right, man? You do whatever you got to do to get to that next show. So there we were, and we never played in a stadium like that before. So you drive up and you go, oh my God, this is the way we're playing. And then the most crazy part is that we went on stage really, really early because I think there was like a 4 p.m. curfew that day. So we went on stage really, really early. And I remember we went up there and the fog was still rolling enough like it does. And we could see thousands of people, you know, in the general admission area on the floor, and they're all like screaming and yelling and so forth. And then the fog lifts, and then you see, this is like crazy, like 10 o'clock in the morning, there's like 80,000 people there. Man, you know, and we had 2 shows like that back to back. And I got to say that for us, for Priest, that was a very important moment for us in breaking us in California to a great extent, because everybody came from all over to that particular
Well, it wasn't
show.
just a stadium, Rob. It wasn't just a stadium. It was the Coliseum. It was the Oakland Coliseum. And I know that hotel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I saw a picture of that the other day. It's still there, right, Roxy? The building is still there.
It's still there. The Oakland Raiders don't play there. Yeah, the Oakland Raiders don't play there anymore. They've moved to Las Vegas. But that hotel that you're talking about, that rundown hotel, it's definitely still there.
I wonder if it still has the orange carpet. You know? In the 70s, you know, the decor in the 70s, everything was like bright tangerine and orange and yellow. I don't know why you're trying to lay in bed and you got all this stuff flashing around your eyeballs.
Well, how does it feel today to know that for pretty much every band that goes on before Judas Priest, you are that Zeppelin band? You know, you have become sort of the band that everybody goes, oh shit, I get to play with Judas Priest tonight.
It's the way we kind of pass the rock and roll baton or the rock and roll torch, or call it metal. But I always say rock and roll because when I say that, it's everything, all kinds of music, metal. But that's what we do, you know. We're living The great thing about it is that we're living the same lives, aren't we? Regardless of where you're at, we're all getting in the van. Get in the van, you know. We're all getting in the van. We still get in the van to get from the air. We fly in, get into the van, go to the show, fly, you know, get in the van, back to the plane, and take off. We're still getting in the van. You're living the same life. You're living the same dream. You still have the same great expectations and journey that you're on. You're making music. You're making songs. You're making records. We can look at each other without having to say a thing, and we know that we both live the same life. You know, that's the joy of being in a band.
I call it passing the torch of rock, and you can call it the banter and the scepter, whatever you want. I think we're on to the same exact wavelength for that, for sure. And I believe in that 100%.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 Guitar Method.
Ever gets the feeling that she never had no feeling.